not enough to be a factor. A bright, sunshiny day. Rod informs me that he's been down on the playing field, and it's just like toast down there. The wind is, the little breeze that there is kind of blowing over the stadium, and it's going to be a great afternoon for this state Class A championship. Two undefeated teams, the Fargo South Bruins and the Trinity High School Titans. Okay, that was the Trinity High Pep Band with the national anthem. The officials come onto the playing field. The Fargo South Bruins are out there, and the Trinity Titans will be kicking off. The field runs north and south. We're situated on the west side of the playing field, back deep to receive for Fargo South. On the far side is Todd Pavick, and on the near side is Jim Yonner. They'll be back at about the 3-yard line. The little bit of wind that we do have is blowing it out of the north, and Trinity will be kicking with that wind, and will have that wind at their back to start the first quarter of play. Both teams looking for big defensive efforts. Todd Wandler, the 240-pound senior tackle, will do the kicking for the Trinity Titans. He sets that tee down now at the 40-yard line, and we're about ready to get this one underway. A tense crowd as we get ready for this kickoff in this state championship Class A football game.
And Bob, right away, this is one of the aspects both coaches were concerned about, the play of the special teams. Both said it makes up about a third of the play, and we're going to find out right off the bat. The special teams will get right to work as Wandler approaches the ball.
Wandler gets the toe into it. It's going to be taken at the far side at the 15-yard line. Starting back upfield to the 20, to the 25, and getting out to the 32-yard line. A short kick, and it was taken by Dave Kling, and Dave Kling was downed after he got across the 35 to about the 37. So Fargo will put it in play first and 10. Dave Weber, the quarterback. Todd Pavick and Jeff Haug, or Rick Anderson, are the running backs. This time they line up in an open backfield. They slot to the right side. Man in motion. The quarterback, Weber, spins, gives up the middle. The handoff goes to Kurt Coleman, and Coleman gets about 1 to the 40-yard line. Perry Kovac made the stop, rather about 3 to the 41-yard line. They were at the 38. It's a 3-yard gain. It'll bring up a 2nd and 7 for the Bruins from Fargo South.
And that time, Bob, South just coming out in that open backfield. The pro set the man in motion and simply just shot Coleman up the middle. A good defensive effort by Kovac as he filled that hole from his linebacking position well.
Same lineup again. Weber under center, open backfield. Here's the set, the spin. They pitch wide this time, trying to turn the corner and making the turn. Spinning loose from one tackle and getting driven out of bounds in Trinity territory at the 45-yard line. The ball carrier was Tom Yonner, and Randy Kovac made the stop, but not before Fargo had picked up a first down in Trinity territory at the 45-yard line, and a good gainer.
And that time, Bob, they sent the man in motion, faked it up to Coleman, and came back with that inside reverse, and a good run by Yonner. That picked up about 14 yards.
Dave Weber under center now. I formation this time. Weber sets the spin, the give. Weber on the option, pitches wide, turning the corner, getting about 3. The ball carrier was Rick Anderson. They went wide to the right side, and he was cut off after a short gain. Russ Binstock out there to stop him. Let's see where they place that ball. They're going to place it a 4-yard gain at the 41-yard line of Trinity. So it'll be 2nd and 6, Fargo South. Opening minutes of the first quarter. Fargo South took the opening kickoff. Weber, open backfield again, man in motion. Weber takes the snap, spin, the give is going up the middle, and good yardage down near the 35-yard line. The ball carrier was Kurt Coleman, and he found a hole in the middle. They placed it at the 31-yard line. It'll be 3rd and a yard. And Keith Antone made the stop for Trinity, but Fargo North eating up some good yardage on the ground right now as they've moved the ball down to the 36-yard line of the Trinity Titans. It'll be 3rd and 1.
And right now, Bob, the South defense working on nose guard Kurt Lease. They're giving him a great big test here in the early going as they're going off the tackles and between the guards, and Lease has got his job cut out for him.
Weber under center, the spin, the give, and being cut down. He may have made the first down. We'll have to wait and see. It was Rick Anderson coming to the left side. He was stopped there by Keith Antone, and they may have to measure. Wandler in there also. They're going to bring the yard markers out. It looks like it's going to be so close that if they haven't got it, they'll definitely go for it on 4th down. It looks to me like the nose of the ball is going to be ahead of the marker, but we'll wait till they bring them out.
They had to get right to the 35 of Dickinson Trinity, and the football spotted right on the 35, the center of the football right on the stripe, and it's just barely enough the way it looks, and it will be a first down.
It is just enough for a first down at the 35-yard line. So Fargo North has moved now to 2 first downs, and they've moved into Trinity territory at the 35-yard line.
Fargo South just basically testing the inside and the outside, using Anderson and Coleman inside, and had that one nice run set up by Todd Pavick on the inside reverse for the big gainer of 14 yards.
I formation, Weber under center. Weber pitches, going wide, turning the corner, getting blocking out in front, and being cut down after he got to about the 28-yard line. Again, it was Rick Anderson. And Brent Wadler came in to make the stop, but another big gainer, a 7-yard gainer by Fargo South, and I keep wanting to call him Fargo North.
That time Brent Wadler filled in from his linebacking position, but right now South is getting outside of the Dickinson Trinity defensive ends of Russ Binstock and Mark Hankins, and the linebackers are coming up the field, but once they get around those ends, there's 4, 5, 6 yards to pick up, and they've had success with it.
Slot left, man in motion. We may have a flag. No gain in the play, but I think it'll probably be a motion penalty against Fargo South. Yes, that's the original signal. It will cost them 5.
And that time, Keith Antone and Todd Wandler filled in very well on that play as they went straight up the middle to Coleman, but Wandler and Antone, along with Kurt Lease, that time did their job, stopped them for a very little gain, but I'm sure the Titans, with a 2nd down and 4, a pickup of about a yard in that play, will take the penalty.
That will move the ball back to the 32-yard line. 33-yard line. There it will be 2nd and 8.
Right now, that Titan defense getting a big test here initially in the first offensive series of the afternoon for the Fargo South Bruins, and the Bruins have had success keeping it on the ground, and with Weber in there, head coach Darrell Hurdle said they probably wouldn't throw the ball a whole lot.
Weber sends a man in motion. Here's the count. Weber pitches wide. They're going to come to this side with it. They're trying to turn the corner, and they're not going to get much. Being smothered was Rick Anderson as he ran wide to the left side, but over there covering very well was Terry Kobach, Brent Wandler, and Randy Kobach, and they put the stop on him after the gain of a yard. It'll be 3rd and 7. A long 7 for Fargo, and a big 3rd down right now for Fargo South.
And now we'll see what the Bruins offense can do. This is their first big 3rd down play of the afternoon. They've had quite a bit of success with the option outside, except for that last play. Head coach Darrell Hurdle sending in the play from the sideline. We'll wait and see what they do, but I got the feeling Weber may be on the option to the wide side of the field, which is the east side on this play.
Open backfield. Weber brings him up. 3rd down. Weber fading to throw. He's looking downfield. He's going to throw a little screen pass. It works, and it's going to go for a first down. A screen pass by Weber, complete to the 20-yard line. Gathering it in was number 22. That's Tom Yanner, and it's a first down Fargo. Bill Anner made the tackle, and Fargo keeps the drive alive at the Trinity 20. 7:43 left first quarter. So Fargo using up a lot of time on this drive. A little over 4 minutes right now, and they've moved down to the 20-yard line of Trinity.
And Weber set that play up just beautiful, Bob. He had Trinity's defensive ends and defensive tackles coming in, and he just waited very patiently and dropped it over the middle to his receiver, and he had a 14-yard gain for another first down.
Weber, inside handoff, a big hole. This may be a touchdown. Being stopped short at the 2-yard line was Rick Anderson as they went to the inside handoff, and it went for big yardage right down the middle. And it'll be 1st and goal Fargo from the Trinity 1-yard line.
And right now, Fargo South just blowing Dickinson Trinity's defensive line back. Their offensive line doing a super job. Those people up front, DeBille, Kelly, along with Maverson, Bistel, and King have really dominated the line of scrimmage here in this first offensive series for South.
South comes out. Weber brings them up on 1st and goal. Here's the set. Weber spins the give into the end zone for the touchdown. The ball carrier was Rick Anderson. And the Fargo South Spartans get on the board first. They go out in front. 6-0 in the ball game. They'll be going for the point after.
That time just a simple off tackle dive, and Anderson needed a yard. He got a yard. He got hit at the line of scrimmage by Todd Wandler, but still managed to struggle into the end zone. So Fargo South coming out showing why they are the defending state champion, and this is the first time Dickinson Trinity has been behind, I believe, all season. So we'll see now if the Titans can come back offensively on the kickoff.
Terry Pavick will try for the point after. Here's the set, the snap, the ball is up. The kick is going to be no good. It's no good. The kick is off, and Fargo takes a 6-0 lead. For a custom fit in your home, contact K&M Cabinetry in Dickinson. Okay, Fargo to kick. Dickinson has Anner deep to receive. Here's the boot. It's going off to Mossbroker. Mossbroker coming to this side. Gets a block. He's going to start turning upfield. He's at the 30. He's at the 35 and dropped after he gets to the 37-yard line. So Trinity puts it in pretty good field position at the 37 to start this first drive of the ball game.
And that time the Fargo South place kicker, Terry Pavick, I think intentionally, they did not want to kick deep to Bill Anner, and he kind of just sliced it off to the right to Bruce Musbrucker, but a nice 17-yard return by Bruce as the Titans have the wall set up. They have good field position, and right now we have an official's timeout on the playing field, and referee Ron Cameron right now, I believe, checking some equipment on one of the Fargo South defenders, and defensively checking out of the game is Larry Sideschlag, and he's going to be replaced by number 81 checking into the game for the Fargo South Bruins.
Trinity will bring them up on first down. Willer under center, I formation, slot right. This is the way they've run all year. They're down by a touchdown right now. Willer pitches wide to Hushka. Hushka gets the first test of the afternoon, and he's across the 40 to the 42-yard line. A gain of about 5 on the play before he's cut down by Tom Yonner. So it'll be 2nd and 5, Trinity, from their own 30, make it the 42-yard line. Trinity breaks that huddle quickly and comes up to the line of scrimmage. Takes no time back in that huddle. Willer on the quick count, the spin. The give is to Hushka. No! Coming through there was number 53, and that's Warren King, and dropped him in the backfield for a loss. So the Trinity Titans are stopped after a 5-yard gain and dropped for a 3-yard loss. It'll bring up 3rd and long. And let's see what the Titans do here on 3rd and long yardage.
And that time, King on the blitz just caught Hushka on the handoff. A good defensive play by the South Bruins.
Here's the set. The handoff goes to Kovash. Kovash gets 3 or 4. He gets it out to about the 43-yard line. Not enough for a first down. It'll bring up a 4th and 4, and Trinity will have to kick it away. Al Schaefer made the tackle. Trinity, after 3 running plays, will have to put the ball in the air. And dropping back to receive this punt will be Jeff Haug and Yonner. Keller will be doing the kicking. Here's the set. Keller from his own 27-yard line gets a good snap, hangs a high kick. Fair catch is called for and taken at the 22-yard line. And Fargo will have the ball once again. They lead 6-0, 5:23 left first quarter.
That time, Tom Keller just got an excellent punt into the contest. That covered 40 yards, and Fargo South had no chance to return it. A good high kick, a 40-yard kick, and that's the kind of punch you like to see with no chance for a return, as Keller did that time.
Trinity comes up. Weber brings them up on first down. Open backfield. Here's the set. Weber spins. The give is up the middle, and coming through for about 3 yards. The ball carrier, Perry Kovash, hit the ball carrier. It was Kurt Coleman, and Coleman got to the 24-yard line. Wait till they mark it 20. A gain of a yard on the play. It'll bring up a 2nd and 9 for Fargo.
And that time, Dickinson Trinity is going to have to do what Kovash did there. Those linebackers are going to have to fill a little quickly, because South really getting off that football here in the first period.
Weber spins the inside handoff once again, slipping a tackle and coming to the outside for good yardage. All the way out to the 40-yard line. The handoff went to Kurt Coleman. And again, Fargo finds a hole and gets a first down. And they're running well at this point in the ballgame.
That is Fargo South's fifth first down of the afternoon. They have 4 by rushing, 1 by passing. And that time, Coleman just had a great big hole on the right side. Billy Anner came up from his strong safety position to help put the stop on Coleman.
Weber sets. Sends a man in motion. The handoff. Again, they try to go to Kurt Coleman, and Coleman gets a couple. Across the 42, Perry Kovash made the tackle. Make a gain of 3 on the play. It'll bring up 2nd and 7. They're out at the 43-yard line.
Right now, that Fargo South, again, we can't stress it enough, but their offensive line from tackle to tackle, just beating Dickinson Trinity's front 5 off that football. And a big play right here for the Titans. If they can stop them for no gain, it'll set up a big 3rd down play.
There's going to be a flag on this one as they pitch outside. It's not going to go for any yardage. In fact, it may have lost a yard as they faked inside. Doug Hushka took the man off his feet, and that was Rick Anderson running wide to the right side, but there's a flag down.
That time, the slot back coming back, Jeff Haug, was really in motion. He was coming forward way before the snap. In fact, he almost ran into the center before the snap, and it'll be interesting to see whether the Titans take this penalty. It will either bring up a 2nd and about 12 situation or a 3rd down and about 7, and we'll see what the Titans decide to do as the referees talk.
declined by Trinity. It will bring up a 3rd and 7 for Fargo from the 43-yard line, their own 43-yard line. They've got a touchdown lead, 6-0 in the ball game. Fargo South comes out. Weber under center. Here's the set. I formation this time. Weber fakes inside. Now he hands inside. And Antone took the man coming through there. Coming in from the slot. Moving through was Todd Pavick. And Todd Pavick was cut down at about the 46-yard line. It'll bring up a 4th down. And Fargo will probably have to kick it away right here. 3:37 left in the first quarter. Trinity has not picked up a first down. They've only had 3 running plays in the first quarter of the ball game. Anner and Hushka will be the deep men. Back in punt formation will be Terry Pavick from his own 32-yard line. Here's the snap, a good snap. He gets a kick away. It's a low kick that's going to take a bounce and take a Trinity bounce, roll back downfield to the 34-yard line. Trinity will have it 1st and 10 from their own 34.
That time, that punt only covered 20 yards, Bob, and that was one of the things that head coach Dale Hurdle was concerned about was the special teams play. And that time, the Titans went out in that battle as their defense stopped the Bruins after they had a good offensive series going. A bad punt coming from the foot of Pavick, and now they have good field position to go back to work offensively.
Trinity comes up on first down. Willer under center. Here's the set. Willer takes the snap. Rolls to the far side. He's got it on the option. He's going to throw long downfield. He's got Anner, but it's incomplete. He rolled out to the left side. He had Anner open. Anner slipped and fell. The ball hit him in the chest but rolled away, and it goes as an incomplete forward pass. It'll bring up 2nd and 10.
And that was a tough break for the Titans because Billy Anner down around midfield was about 5 yards ahead of any Fargo South Bruin defender. And Billy, when he grabbed for the football, slipped and fell to his back and still just about came up with a spectacular catch. But I think we can see Trinity maybe file that one and pull it out a little later because Bill Anner had a lot of room to operate.
2nd and 10 Trinity now from their own 34-yard line. Willer under center. Here's the set. Willer gives to Hushka. No, Hushka gets about 2 to the 36-yard line. And that time it was Al Schaefer on the tackle for Fargo. 2:43 left first quarter. Trinity trailing by a touchdown. And the Titans unable to get on track here so far in this ball game. They have yet to get a first down. We're in the first quarter of play. Here's the set. Willer comes up on 3rd down. Probably a throwing situation. Willer fading to throw. He's got protection. He's looking. He's firing. He's got Anner, and Anner has the first down. Up the middle they went at the 49, and Anner gathered it in for a first down. Trinity at their own 49-yard line. So with 3rd and long, the Titans keep that drive alive on the arm of Willer to Anner.
And that time Billy Anner just ran a simple cross pattern, but the key to that play was all the time that Pat Willer had back there as Anner just floated across the middle, following the seam. Willer with the time, a beautiful pass and a first down.
Willer on the give. On the inside handoff, they go to Mossbroker this time, and Mossbroker gets across the 50, and the Titans for the first time will be in Fargo South territory at the 49-yard line.
That time, slapback Bruce Mossbroker came across the middle, but a good defensive play that time by the left tackle, Warren King, as he filled the hole. If he wouldn't have done it, there was some daylight, but that defensive line, again, of Fargo South's very strong.
2nd and 8 for Trinity, just inside Fargo territory. Willer on 2nd down. Here's the set. Willer to Hushka. Hushka finds a hole. He's into the secondary. He may be all the way. He's loose at the 20, and he's going to be in the end zone for the touchdown. And just like that, the Titans get it back with 1:34 remaining in the first quarter. Hushka, a 49-yard jaunt right up the middle and all the way into pay dirt.
And that time, Doug Hushka, just a simple handoff from Willer out of that power formation off the right side. And on that right offensive line of Trinity, Todd Wandler, Tom Fried cleared the hole. Hushka made a great move at the 30-yard line, got by free safety Tom Yonner, and nobody's going to catch him once he gets behind, so a great big offensive break for the Trinity Titans.
Wandler will be trying for the point after. Anner will be holding. Here's the set. Here's the snap. The ball is down. The kick is up. It's good, and Trinity moves in front, 7-6 in the ball game. Dan Porter Motors. Well, Trinity now with a 1-point lead as they'll be kicking off to Fargo, and Fargo will have deep Todd Pavick on the far side, and on the near side, Tom Yonner. Wandler in his last attempt at kicking off did not get it deep enough to either one of those men. It was taken at about the 20-yard line. They're standing back at the 10. They've come up a little right now. What little breeze there is, Wandler will have at his back with 1:34 remaining in the first quarter. Fargo a sustained drive. Trinity one big drive from the 50 on a long run. Here's the set. Wandler puts a little short kick off that's taken at the 25. Coming back upfield and being cut down at the 35-yard line. The ball was taken by Ken Sanford, and he was dropped at the 40, at the 35-yard line, where Fargo will have it 1st and 10, their own 35.
And that kickoff was just an instant replay of the Fargo South kicker, Terry Pavick, as both kickers slicing it off to the right, and not a real big return, about a 5-yard return, so Fargo South going to work from their own 35.
Dave Weber brings them up on 1st down. They trail by a point now as Weber from the open backfield. The spin, the give goes up the middle, probably about 3, as the handoff goes to Anderson up the middle, and Anderson gets out to the 36, 37-yard line. That was Coleman, carrying. Perry Kovac made the stop.
Good play by Kovac that time, as he did pop the ball loose, but the officials ruled that the play had ended at about the 38-yard line. So Trinity's defense right now beginning to maybe figure out the offensive blocking schemes of Fargo South a little better, as they're not having that great success up the middle.
2nd and 7. Here's the spin. Inside handoff. Nothing. They tried to go to the inside handoff that time. Rick Anderson was cut down by Russ Binstock. Russ got inside and dropped him, and Anderson is getting up slowly.
A good defensive play by Binstock, as he just spun off the block, and I guess a little bit of luck, or maybe a good ball player will do that, but he spun off that block and spun right into the path of Anderson, and he really nailed Anderson after a very little gain. So defensively, looks like maybe that Trinity Titans defensive line right now has turned the momentum around a little bit, and they're controlling the line of scrimmage against the Bruins offensive line.
33 seconds. Anderson checks out. Yonner checks into the lineup. 3rd and 7 now for Fargo South as they come up. Weber under center, open backfield. Weber sets, sends the man in motion. The handoff as they pitch wide and just about dropping that ball, but hanging on and getting out for the 1st down, I do believe, was Yonner. Perry Kovac put the stop on him. It's a 1st down Fargo, and he just about mishandled that football.
That was very close to being a fumble in the offensive backfield, but it turned into a great play for the Fargo South Bruins, as that time it got outside on the option after the bobble of the football and picked up about 8 yards, and it was enough for their 6th 1st down of the 1st period.
7-6 Trinity leads. We're in the 1st period. This may be the last play of the 1st period. They may not get this one off. Weber sets. Here's the snap. Weber spins. The give coming up the middle. And drilling out for about 5 yards right up the middle. The ball carrier was Rick Anderson once again. Randy Kovac made the stop. It'll be a gain of 5, and that should be the end of the 1st quarter of play. Taste the good times, enjoy the good times at Jack's Family Restaurant. If your family is like the 3 bears who all needed a different sized bucket of chicken, there's no problem when you go to Jack's Family Restaurant, because they have small buckets for light eaters, medium-sized buckets of chicken for the middle-of-the-road eater, and Jack's has big buckets of their famous fried chicken for those who enjoy the good things in life, and a lot of it. It's a good thing Jack's Family Restaurant has lots of sizes for everyone's appetite, so everyone can taste the good times. Okay, we're looking at 2nd and 6 now for Fargo as we start the 2nd quarter of play. Trinity leading at the end of 1 by a score of 7-6.
And Fargo South offensively rolled up 107 total yards in the 1st period compared to 70 total yards for Dickinson Trinity.
Weber under center. The spin. Again, they go up the middle. A flag is down. Being caught and dropped from behind was Kurt Coleman. Todd Wandler made the tackle, but we've got a flag, and let's wait and see. Holding against Fargo. That will cost them the big penalty.
That was a definite holding situation. Is the flag usually thrown between the linebackers and the defensive line of scrimmage, and it's in that defensive backfield. It's either going to be a clip or a hold, and that time it's going to be a hold, and that is going to be a very costly penalty for Fargo South. That is their 2nd penalty of the afternoon, and they have been penalized now twice for 20 yards. And offensively in that 1st period, South rushed the football 18 times for 93 yards, were 1 of 1 passing for 14, 6 first downs for 107 total yards. Trinity 6 rushes, 60 yards, 1 of 2 for 10 yards passing, 1 first down, and 70 yards.
2nd and about 20 for the Bruins as they come up now. Weber under center. Still the open backfield. Weber on the pitch. Comes to this side. He gets the blocker out in front, turning the corner and starting upfield and being driven out of bounds as he got back to the original line of scrimmage. Perry Kovac put the tackle on Tom Yonner. So he got back the 10. Got him back to third down and 10 right now at the 46-yard line, and they're able to get outside right now on the Trinity Titans.
Well, that time Doug Huschka came up and had the play contained, and then he had to fight off a block, and he spun away from the block, and as he did, he slipped to the ground, and that allowed that gain. And then very well, the Brent Wadler and Kovash filled in for only a 10-yard gain. There was some room on the outside.
Third and big. Weber fading to throw. He's rolling back. He's looking long downfield. It is going to be caught, and I think it'll be a first down. A good pass that was taken in by John Stensgaard, and it'll be a first down, Fargo.
And that time, good pressure put on Weber by the Dickinson Trinity front line, but he just found the wide receiver open downfield. Stensrud, he came up, made a good catch, was hit right at the first down marker by Bill Anner, and then Anner, for some reason, let loose of him, and he spun forward for that extra yard before Randy Kovash finally put the stop on him.
First and 10 in Trinity territory now. Weber. The give is up the middle again, and again there's a good hole there. Finding running room was Kurt Coleman, and he gets it down to the 36-yard line. It'll be about a 7-yard gain. It'll bring up a 2nd and 3. Todd Wandler made the tackle. Fargo able to find holes in this Trinity defense, and they're the first team that's been able to do that this year, but they're doing it well right now. We're in the second quarter of play. Trinity leads by a point. Fargo brings them up on second down. They need 4. Weber fakes, rolls out, pitches wide, turning the corner and getting out of bounds at about the 20-yard line. The ball carrier, Keller, got him from behind, and again Fargo picks up big yardage. It was Todd Pavick carrying it down to the Trinity 20, and it'll be first and 10 Fargo from the 20-yard line of the Trinity Titans.
And that time, Bob, Trinity's defensive front is having trouble with that option as Weber runs it very well, and one of the things that he hadn't been doing in the previous playoff games is using a lot of option, but right now South coming out and finding good success with the option, and I think head coach Bill Knoll wants to talk with his defensive lineup because they're having trouble right now controlling that option.
Fargo comes out, first and 10 from the Trinity 20-yard line. Weber under center. Here's the set. Weber spins. The give again. And another big hole as getting down near the 10-yard line. The ball carrier was Kurt Coleman. Perry Kovash made the tackle, but again, that Trinity line is being blown out of there. They say it's at the 11-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 1.
And Bob, Trinity has already given up 138 yards in the ground, and we're just midway through the first half, not even midway through the first half.
Here's the set. Weber under center. Spins again. They go to the big guy, and again he's got yardage down near the 6-yard line. That time it was Kurt Coleman carrying, and a first down goal for Fargo North. 10-14 left in the first half. Tom Keller made the tackle.
The Titans right now counting on those secondary people. They've been up in a lot of tackles, and this Coleman kid really strong, and if he's going to beat on the defensive secondary of Trinity, it's going to be a long afternoon for those people back there. That defensive line right now again getting beat off the line of scrimmage.
Weber open backfield. Here's the set. Man in motion. Weber spins. The give goes to Rick Anderson, and Rick may have been stopped after very little gain. We'll wait to see where they mark that football. Antone made the tackle along with Todd Wandler. It'll bring up a 2nd and goal from the 5. No gain on that play.
That time again, Todd Wandler, Keith Antone from their defensive tackle positions did a great job. They pushed the offensive blockers back and had plenty of time to corral the ball carrier.
Weber sets. This time again, and again there's a stop made as they try to go to Anderson, and Anderson is dropped for a loss. Back at the 7-yard line. Brent Wadler got in there to take that one down, and a loss back to the 7. It'll bring up 3rd and goal from the 7-yard line. And now the Bruins are going to take a timeout. Well, Weber takes a timeout right now to talk with his coach after 2 running plays. They have lost yardage back to the 7-yard line. They'll be looking at a 3rd and goal from the 7. 9:19 left in the first half, and the Titans leading by a point, 7-6.
And Weber's had success through the airways this afternoon. Not a lot of long gainers, but he is 2 of 2 for 25 yards, and they have 3rd and 7. And we might just see the Bruins go to the airway.
Weber sets. They send the man in motion. Weber is rolling. He's going to be cut down. And a fumble. Trinity has recovered. Weber fumbled at the 2, and the Titans take over 1st and 10 from their own 2-yard line. And who fell on that one? Doug Huschka got it. But the Trinity Titans, with their back against their own goal line, have taken over the football and stopped that Fargo drive.
But I'm sure head coach Bill Knoll will take his offensive unit back against that goal line. That time Weber had a little bit of room, got down to about the 3. Brent Wadler come up, put a good hit. That ball popped loose. Billy Anner initially fell on it, squirted away from him, and then Doug Hushko, laying right beside him, just rolled on top of it.
I formation as Trinity comes up. Willer under center. First down from the 2-yard line. They're going to try to get some running room. They go to Perry Kovac, and Perry gets it out to the 7-yard line as he bursts up the middle for a 5-yard gainer. Warren King made the stop.
And that's a very good initial first down play from down against their own goal line. He moved it out about 4 or 5 yards. Now they're out around the 6. They've got a little more room to operate. Don't have to worry so much about being trapped in their own end zone.
2nd and 6. Give him a 4-yard gain on that one. 2nd and 6 for Trinity as they come out. Here's the set. Willer under center. Slot right, I formation. Willer spins, pitches to Hushka. Hushka trying to turn the corner, and he's going to lose a yard back to about the 5-yard line as they pitched wide to Hushka, but he couldn't turn the corner. Tom Yanner was over there to contain him, and it'll bring up a 3rd, and the Titans are going to need about 7.
A good defensive play that time by Yanner as he came up from his free safety position on the option. That play developed pretty slowly for Trinity as Willer had some trouble getting the pitch to Hushka.
3rd and 7. Willer gives to Hushka, and Hushka is cut down after a short gain. Trinity will have to kick it away. So Trinity, again, being stymied after 3 running plays and finding it tough going against this Bruin defense early in this ball game. With Trinity holding a slim 1-point lead, the Titans will have to kick it away. Tom Keller will be called on from his own end zone.
And again, right now, here's an aspect of the Titans game that has been excellent all year, and if they'd ever need a time for a very good punt on the foot of Tom Keller, they could use it right now.
Here's the snap. A little high. He has to reach for it, but he gets a pretty fair kick away. It's taking a Trinity bounce, and it's going to be taken at the 31-yard line. It hit at the 35. It was not a real good kick by Keller, and it took a Trinity bounce back to the 31-yard line, and there, Fargo in excellent field position will take it 1st and 10 from the Trinity 30, make it the 32-yard line is where they're marking it.
That time Keller had to jump a little bit for that punt, came down, didn't really rush it, but just got an end-over-end kick, and instead of bouncing the Fargo South way, it turned back the Trinity way, and the Bruins again with excellent field position.
Weber under center. Again, they go to the big guy, and he's got running room. He's still on his feet. He's down to the 25-yard line. It was Kurt Coleman, and he's doing a good job running. Doug Hushka made the tackle. And again, they got through the secondary and into the gain of about 7. It'll bring up 2nd and 3. And this vaunted Trinity defense has given up a lot of yardage here in the first half of this ball game.
Unofficially, Bob, 152 yards rushing, 25 passing. They've given up 177 yards here in the first half.
Weber fades to throw. He's going to be smothered as he was dropped back at the 31-yard line. It looked like it might have been a mix-up. Todd Wadler put the first hit on him and dropped him for a loss back at the 31. It'll bring up 3rd and 8 right now. And it looked that time like it might have been a little mix-up. Doug Weber looking for receivers, but could never get on track.
And that time, Kurt Lease, the nose guard, just did a great job of getting across the line of scrimmage. He made the initial contact, and then there was no trouble as Todd Wadler filled in and dropped Weber for that loss.
Weber comes up. Fargo needs a bundle. Here's the pitch. They're going to throw long downfield. That's going to be picked off by Tom Keller. The Trinity Titans. Tom Keller picks it off at the 5-yard line. 6-yard line. Trinity will have it 1st and 10.
And that time, Tom Yanner took the pitch from quarterback Weber, number 22. Yanner dropped back the pass. He got some good defensive pressure, but boy, that was a floating duck up there as it was just end over end, and Tommy Keller was just sitting there waiting for it. So the Titans have taken advantage of 2 turnovers to stop 2 Fargo South offensive drives deep in their own territory.
Trinity comes up 1st and 10. They've been starting from deep in their own territory each time, and they start from the 6 this time. Willer shouts him out. Gives to Kovac, and Kovac is finding it tough going. He got back to the line of scrimmage and no more. It was Jim Double making the stop for Fargo. They give him a gain of a yard on the play. It'll bring up 2nd and 9.
Right now, Dickinson Trinity's offensive line, again, like their defensive line, is having trouble controlling that line of scrimmage, and they're deep in their own territory.
I formation, Willer under center. From the 6, the set. Willard takes the snap. The give. He's fading to throw. He's looking. He's firing downfield. He had it at Kovash out at about the 15-yard line, but Kovash couldn't hang on. Incomplete forward pass will bring up a 3rd and long for Trinity.
That time they just faked it up the middle to Kovash, and he floated out in the right flat for about 7 yards. The pass a little bit too long, but Kovash did have his hands on it, but then as he made a move for the football, couldn't hang on to it. One is incomplete, and again, the Titans deep in their own territory, and I'm sure they'd like a first down here to get just a little bit of room to operate and try some new things offensively.
Willard brings them up, 3rd and long. Here's the set. Willard pitches wide to Hushka. Hushka fumbles the football. Fargo's going to recover at the 9. And there's a break for Fargo. And that's the first time I think Hushka's done that all year.
Well, number 27 recovered the football, but I don't have a number 27 listed. Let's check it out. Number 22, Tom Yonner, that time came up on the football as Willard and Hushka never really got that play down as the pitch went to Doug, but he just had to make a lunge for it, couldn't control it, and rolled right into the hands of Yonner. And again, the Trinity defense with their backs to the wall, but they've been successful in the last 2 tries stopping South.
Weber comes up on first down from the 10-yard line. And I lost that football, but getting down to the 5-yard line with it was Todd Pavick.
Doug Hushka that time, along with Keith Antone, came up and made the stop on the play, and he came from his slot back position that time on an inside reverse. There was some room there, but Pavick didn't put on a burst of speed. Otherwise, he would have had some room in a good defensive play by Antone, along with Doug Hushka. 2nd
and 7. They got a gain of 3 on that one to the 7-yard line. 2nd and goal from the 7. Weber spins. They go to the big guy again. He bowls his way forward, and they mark him down about a half-yard short of the goal line. They mark him at about the 1-yard line. There it will be 3rd and goal from the 1 as Kurt Coleman bowled forward. Todd Wandler made the tackle. And Fargo North knocking again, trailing by a point. 4 minutes left first half. They've dominated the first half of this ball game.
That time, Todd Wandler and Coleman really had a collision down about the 3-yard line, and I think Coleman went out in that one because he burst down to the 1, and Todd Wandler rolled back. A big defensive stand right here for the Titans.
Weber, the give. No, he doesn't get it. Coleman is stopped at the 1-yard line as the Titans defense stiffens, and now you're looking at 4th and 1, and the Fargo South wants a timeout. Todd Wandler made the tackle. They're a half-yard short of the goal line.
Half yard to go for the Fargo South Bruins, and they're going to go for it. So Dickinson Trinity's defense again will be tested, and they've just been doing a super job once the Bruins get inside that 5-yard line. And again, they're going to get tested. Coleman has carried the football 11 times this afternoon for 50 yards, and he's had a good effort, and he's a big, strong runner at that goal line. And I think we'll probably see Weber either go with the option or just straight ahead to Coleman.
Weber sets him. Here's the spin, the give. No, they do not get it. Being stopped at the 1-yard line as they tried to go to L. Schaefer. Brent Wandler made the tackle, and the Trinity Titan defense holds again.
Boy, and I tell you right now, it's 7-6. Trinity's leading, and they're leading because of their defense. That was just a super effort. I mean, everybody knew it was going to go up the middle. Brent Wandler shot from the linebacking position and caught the ball carrier at the 3-yard line when they were only a half yard away from the goal line. Again, the offense with their backs to the wall, but they're going to go to work.
There may be some flags on this one, and it may be against Fargo. We'll wait and see. Offside, Fargo. So Trinity brings the ball out to the 6-yard line. It'll bring up a 1st and 5.
And again, that moves that football out and gives the Titans a little bit of operating room. But the last time they brought it out, Hushka had a couple of options from Willard, but had trouble one time handling the football. The other one developed slowly, so let's see what they do.
First down, here's the spin. The give is to Kovash. Kovash bursts out to the 10-yard line, and it'll be 2nd and 2 for Trinity. The big fullback came right up the middle.
Trinity has only had the football offensively his total of 15 plays there in the first half. 12 of those have been rushing. They have rushed 12 times for 70 yards, but the big rusher, of course, was Hushka on that 49-yard touchdown blast right up the middle.
Scott Schultz is the guy that made the tackle. 2nd down, Trinity. They need a yard. The give will go to Kovash once again. And he gets out.
Willer kept it that time, Bob, on the option and rolled around the right end and did pick up the first down. A good bit of ball work there, deceptive ball work by Pat Willer.
Okay, he had me fooled. Willer on first down. They got their first down out at the 15-yard line. And now Trinity is going to have to hurry a little or they may be called for delay of game.
That is only Trinity's second first down of the first half. They have one by passing and now that one by rushing.
Here's the set. Willer under center. The snap. The give is to Hushka. Hushka cuts to the outside. He's got some room and he's out to about the 24-yard line. He was cut down by Mike Kelly. A gain of 8. It'll bring up a 2nd and 2 Trinity. 1:51 remaining in the first half.
And that offensive play right there is the best the Trinity line's gotten off the football in the entire first half. And as a result, Hushka had some nice running room on the right-hand side for a pickup of about 8 yards.
I formation. This time Hushka's caught in the backfield, is slipping through there. Was Kelly dropping Hushka for a loss back to the 21-yard line. It'll bring up a 3rd and 5 Trinity.
Time Kelly just coming in on the blitz from his linebacking position, and he was right on top of Willer and Hushka before those two just about exchanged the football. So Fargo South linebacking and defensive line really doing a super job in the first half.
3rd down 5 Trinity. I formation. Here's the set. Willer under center. The give is to Kovash. Kovash gets out to about the 20-yard line. He'll be short of a first down. Trinity will have to kick it away. Jim Double made the stop. It'll bring up a 4th down and a 1.5 yards, and Trinity will kick it away with 53 seconds remaining in a half, and Fargo North wants a timeout. Fargo South, rather, wants a timeout to stop the clock right now. Keller will be called on to punt this football away, and they've got 53 seconds left in the first half. Keller back at his own 8-yard line. Here's the snap. He gets a good snap. He gets a good kick away, and it's going to take a Trinity bounce, and it's going to be downed at about the 42-yard line of Fargo.
Good punt that time by Tommy Keller as he didn't get it real high in the air, but he got the good spiral and got the good bounce. And Fargo South now with only 47 seconds remaining. I believe they have used up all their timeouts, so I'm sure we're going to see that football in the air, and the Trinity secondary will be tested here in the final minute of this first half.
7-6 the score. Trinity with a slim 1-point margin. The difference being a point after as Weber brings them up from the I formation. The set. Weber fades to throw. He's looking. He's firing downfield. It is incomplete.
Good coverage back there by Bill Anner. Also Brent Wandler dropping back. Tom Keller. Weber had some time time to throw the football. Did receive some pressure up front from Keith Antone and Mark Hankins, but the pass was not even close to being completed.
It'll bring up a 2nd and 10 now. 32 seconds remaining in the half. As Fargo comes up, Weber on 2nd down. Here's the set. Weber under center. Again, he fades. This time he's fading straight back to throw. It is caught out of bounds. Jeff Haug had the handle on the football, but he was out of bounds when he gathered it in. It'll go as an incomplete forward pass and bring up a 3rd down with 28 seconds remaining in the half.
And that time, Haug had the football, but couldn't control it. He had it right around the midfield stripe, caught it inbounds, but then went into the juggling act, and by the time he controlled the football, he was out of bounds, and as a result, it goes as an incomplete pass. Weber now in the passing department is 2 of 5 for 25 yards. He has 1 interception.
3rd down, 28 seconds left in the half. Weber under center. He's rolling. He's pitching wide. And being cut down after a gain to about the 50-yard line. Bill Anner came in and made the tackle.
Good defensive play that time by Anner as he had the duty of dropping back, and then when he seen it was the option, came up and made a diving tackle of the ball carrier, stopped him short of the first down, and Fargo South, with the clock running down, will not get another play off.
That will end the first half of play with Trinity holding a 1-point lead at the half, 7-6. Rod, have you got stats on the first half?
Yes, we do, and looking at the scoreboard and looking at the stats, you wouldn't believe Dickinson Trinity was ahead by 1, but that's all that matters at that scoreboard. Right now, in the first half, Fargo South has rushed the football 34 times for 160 yards. They are 2 of 5 in the passing department for 25 yards. They have lost 1 by fumble. They have had 1 interception, 8 first downs. They have a total yardage figure of 185 yards at the end of the first half. And Fargo South has run off a total of those 34 rushing plays, 5 passing plays. They have run 40 plays or 41 plays here in the first half. Dickinson Trinity, on the other hand, has only run a total of 20 plays. So Fargo South has run 2 times as many plays as the Titans. For Trinity in the rushing department, 16 carries as a team for 81 yards, 1 of 3 for 12 yards in the passing department, 2 first downs, 93 yards. The Titans have had 1 fumble, and the scoring for Fargo South, they opened it up. Rick Anderson had a 1-yard run at the 7:07 mark of the first period. The extra point attempt was not good. Doug Hushka with that big 49-yard run. That is the difference right now in the first half. He went 49 yards with 1:34 left in the first period, and the extra point attempt was good, and that made it 66-7 as the extra point attempt was good. 7-6, the Trinity Titans lead. 4 plays.
Here comes the kick. Anner is back deep. The deep kick is going to be taken by Anner at the 5-yard line. They're going to try to set up that screen. Anner comes down the far sideline. He has it out to the 40-yard line, and Trinity will start it 1st and 10 from their own 40. So they get themselves probably their best field position of the afternoon.
The Titans will finally have a little bit of room to start an offensive series from. The only other offensive series that was started in really good field position in the first half was when they started at their own 36 and then moved to the 49-yard line of South, and Hushka broke it for a 49-yard touchdown run.
1st and 10 from the 39. Trinity, Willer under center. Here's the set. Willer takes the snap. He rolls to the far side on the option, and he's going to be out to the 45-yard line, a 6-yard gain, as Willer faked to Perry Kovash up the middle and then rolled to the right side and picked up 6. It'll be 2nd and 4, Trinity from their own 45-yard line.
And I think we might see the Titans do that. The defense of South really keying on Hushka and Kovash, and it has left the option open for Willer, and he's come out the first play of the half, and we may see Pat doing that quite a bit.
Slot left. This time the give is to Perry Kovash, and I think he's going to be very near a first down at the 49-yard line. It was John Sorgard on the tackle. It'll be a first down, Trinity. On 2 running plays, they get a first down at their own 49.
And that's what the Titans need. They need to come out quickly here in the half and develop some form of offensive control of the football, and they've done it the first 2 offensive plays. Let's see what Willer does now.
High formation, Willer. Offside will be against Trinity, I think.
Number 63 that time, Tom Freed from the right offensive guard position, got off a count early, and that will cost the Titans 5 yards. So right now we'll wait and see what they do come up with, but they had some momentum going. We'll wait and see if that penalty hurts them or not, because it will cost them 5 yards, and instead of 1st and 10, it'll be 1st and 15 from about their own 45.
1st and 15, Trinity now as they break the huddle.
That is the Titans' first penalty of this football game.
High formation, Willer under center, slot left. Willer sets, sends a man in motion. The pitch comes to Hushka. Hushka getting some blocking. He's going to be back across the 50 at the 47-yard line. Scott Schultz knocked him down, but not before he gained about 8. And it'll bring up a 2nd and 8 for Trinity.
And that time, Hushka made an excellent play. He was supposed to go outside with that. It was filled in. He made a nice cut around the 45, cut back up the middle, and got a good gain for a 2nd down situation.
2nd and 8, Trinity. Willer fading to throw. He's looking. He's firing. He's got Perry Kovash, and Perry has got some running room. He's inside, and he's going to be all the way for the touchdown. Perry Kovash on a pass from Willer at the 30-yard line, and he goes all the way to the end zone, standing up. Trinity moves on in front by the score of 13-7.
And that was nobody's touchdown except Perry Kovash's, because Kovash took the football at about the 40-yard line, broke 2 tackles there, got down to the 20, and juked out 2 Fargo South defenders, and then around the 10, made a lunge past one of these South defenders as he tried to tackle him. And that was just a great individual effort that time by Perry Kovash.
Wandler will be trying for the point after. A big point for Trinity right now. Here's the snap. The kick is down. It's up. It's good. And Trinity leads 14-6 during the locker beef sale. It's annoying when a Trinity holding an 8-point lead now at 14-6 will be kicking. Wandler will be kicking back to the deep man for Fargo. And I've lost my roster here in all this excitement. Deep on the far side will be Tom Yonner. And on the near side, Todd Pavick. Wandler comes forward. He hits it. It's a Booth that's angling off to this side, taken at the 25. Coming back to the 30, to the 35-yard line, and cut down at the 35. The ball carrier was number 35, Dave Klein. Kurt Lease made the tackle, and let's see if that offense will now stimulate the Titan defense.
Well, I tell you, they must have been listening to us up here someplace, because we said that was going to be a great big first offensive series, and the Titans proved it just that. It was a 1-2-3, only a 4-play offensive series, matched their longest of the day, but Kovash with a super effort on that 47-yard touchdown pass.
Weber, open backfield. Weber spins. The give goes to the first man through, no gain. He was dropped for a loss as Russ Binstock got in there to put the hit on Rick Anderson. And it'll be a 2-yard loss back to the 32-yard line.
And the Titans right now with that touchdown, it's Mr. M on their side. They've got all the momentum. And that time, Binstock and Wandler were in that offensive backfield of Fargo South. For the Bruins even had a chance to hand it off, and right now Trinity's got momentum, they've got the lead, and South is going to have to come up with a big offensive series.
Weber rolling to this side, he's looking, he's firing long downfield. It's going to be completed as he hit Ken Sanford out at about the 48-yard line. It'll be a first down Fargo, just a little quick pass. Sanford coming off from the end position. A good pass right in his arms, but he was hit immediately and dropped. It'll be a first down Fargo at the 48-yard line. About as many people outside the fence right now as we've got in the stadium here. They've got a big crowd outside the fence. Weber brings them up, first down, sends a man in motion. Weber, a long count, rolls to the far side on the option. The pitch is bad, it's rolling loose, and Trinity is going to have the football. The Trinity Titans take over. Anner fell on it. Back on the far side at the Fargo South 45-yard line, and the Trinity Titans take over. First and 10 from the Fargo South 45.
And it's just like all season long. It's like a storybook. You read the first half, and Trinity struggles a little bit. They lead, and they come out in the second half, and right now they are completely dominating Fargo South. A bad break for the Bruins there, and the Titans go back offensively.
Willer sets on the option. He's not going to get much. He got back to the line of scrimmage as he faked to Kovash and then rolled to this side. It'll give him probably a yard, bring up 2nd and 9. Scott Schultz made the tackle. 8:32 remaining in the third period. Trinity with a 14-6 lead in the ball game.
And that time, Pat had some trouble getting around that option as he got tangled up in his own backfield. Did fall forward for a yard gain.
2nd down 10, Trinity for all practical purposes. The give this time, no. Willer's going to throw. He's looking, he's got Anner, and Anner has the first down as Anner came back across the middle to gather it in at the 34-yard line, and a Trinity first down.
11-yard pass play, and that time Billy Anner right across the middle from his split end position. He had a lot of room there, and the Titans have been having a good night or a good afternoon passing. Willer in the passing department is now 3 of 5 for 70 yards, and they're going to have to go to that passing game maybe to open the ground game.
1st and 10 Trinity. They're in Fargo South territory. Willer gives to Hushka. Hushka cuts outside, cuts inside, cuts outside. He may be all the way. He's at the 5, and he's driven out of bounds at the 3-yard line. And a big play for Hushka again as the Titans move down to the Fargo South 3.
That time Doug Hushka got a super block on the right side by right guard Tom Freet and right tackle Todd Wandler. He made his move at about the 25, cut to the outside, and he just about made it to the goal line. And right now, we talked about South dominating the line of scrimmage. Well, the Titans have completely flipped it around. They are just dominating.
1st and goal. The give is to Kovash. Kovash is still on his feet. I think he got to about the 2, maybe the 1.5-yard line as he went right up the middle. He never did go down. They're placing it at the 1, just outside the 1-yard line, so give him a 2-yard gain. It'll bring up 2nd and goal for Trinity.
Right now, the Fargo South Bruins, they just about have to come up with one of Trinity's patented defensive stands down at that goal line, because if they get down by 2 touchdowns, it's going to be awful tough to come back against this spirited Titan squad.
The give is to Hushka, and Hushka drives into the end zone for the touchdown. Hushka hit the right side of the line, and Trinity moves out in front, 20-6, and Trinity will be going again for the point after. 7:04 left. So with less than 5 minutes gone in the third period, the Titans have scored 2 touchdowns.
That time, Hushka just a simple blast. He followed his center. That time in across the goal line doing the blocking was Mike Kostelecki, also on that right side, Todd Wandler, and Kurt Lees from the guard positions, and Tom Freed. Just a great effort that time by that front line of Trinity.
Wandler will be going for the point after. Here's the set. Again, it's a big point, as they all are. The kick is up. It's good, and Trinity moves in front 21-6. Keep warm this winter.
I think we're in the wrong spot. I don't know. It looks like those fans down in the stands right now are having an awful good time. The Trinity Titan, a lot of red and white, and the Titans right now controlling the football game. And like Bob mentioned, we have only played about 5 minutes of this third quarter, and the game has just made a complete turnaround. Trinity thoroughly dominated in that first half, has come out, taken advantage of a fumble, a great individual effort by Perry Kovash and Doug Hushka, and just like that, they lead 21-6.
Wandler will be kicking. The deep men are Pavic and Yanner. Wandler comes forward. He gets a good toe in the football this time, and it's taken on the far side by Yanner. Yanner starts upfield, but he doesn't get far. He's cut down at the 28. He took it at the 20, and Randy Kovash hit him at the 28-yard line, and they're going to mark it probably at about the 30-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10, Fargo South, make it the 29.
Again, Fargo South right now, offensively, Weber's going to have to come out, and we may see that football in the air a little bit because the Bruins still have 7 minutes left in this period, 12 in the fourth, but they're going to have to establish that offense very quickly.
Weber sends a man in motion from the I formation. He's going to roll to this side on the option. He may keep it. No, he pitches wide, and running wide and being cut down after a gain of about 11, and they run that option well. The pitch went to Rick Anderson, and Rick Anderson got the Fargo South Spartans a first down at the 41-yard line.
Well, right now, Dickinson Trinity going with just about 9 people up front on that line. They have a 54, but they're getting hurt in that option because their backs are filling in the middle, and they only have 2 people back, and that is Tom Keller and Billy Anner, and those two are having trouble right now containing it, as would be expected on 2 against 5 when the Bruins come out with that blocking.
Weber rolling to throw. He's looking. He's going to be smothered. Now he rolls to this side. He's got an opening. He fires it downfield. It's complete. And Weber should have been tackled in the backfield. He slipped away. Perry Kovash getting up slowly. But it's another first down Fargo, so they're not giving up. They're coming right back. And they have the ball in Trinity territory now at the 43.
A great pass that time by Weber as he had a lot of time, spotted his receiver down there open and drilled the pass in there, and a good pickup as Perry Kovash checks out for the Trinity Titans.
Weber sets on first down. Here's the spin. Weber again fading to throw. He's looking. He's firing long downfield. It'll be intercepted by Anner for the Trinity Titans. And back comes the little guy to the 41. So, little Bill Anner breaks up that offensive series by Fargo South and puts Trinity in excellent territory once again from their 41-yard line.
And that time Weber really pressured Todd Wandler in there, Keith Antone, and he kind of just threw that one up for grabs. Billy Anner made a good defensive play. He committed himself behind the wide receiver who was...
Hagen slipping through there to make the tackle. A loss of another yard, back to the 26-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd and 13.
Right now, the Titans' defensive ends, Binstock and Hankins, are starting to penetrate a little bit on the Fargo South offensive line, and as a result, that makes the option very difficult to run. That time, Weber wanted to do it, couldn't do it, had to go to Coleman, and as a result, Coleman was just stopped cold.
3rd 13. Weber fading to throw. He's looking, he's throwing long downfield. It is incomplete. Intended for Tom Yonner, and Yonner was down there, but the pass was off the mark. It'll bring up a 4th down, and Fargo will have to kick it away.
That makes Weber on the afternoon. He has completed 4 of 9. Now he's had 2 interceptions for 55 yards in this contest.
Anner and Hushka will be the deep men. Terry Pavick will be doing the punting. Here's the snap. Pavick gets the kick away. Anner is going to drop on it at the 35-yard line, and Trinity will have it 1st and 10 from their own 35.
Now it's going to be interesting to see what the Titans are going to be doing. They've had success this afternoon with the pass, although they've only attempted it 6 times, but it's been good to them each time as they've completed a 47-yarder for a touchdown, a 12-yarder, and an 11-yarder, but they also have been finding a little more room on the ground as they have already picked up 56 yards, 57 yards on the ground. That is the most in any period thus far for Trinity.
This time they go to that triple set, and Perry Kovash is the guy that's running with it, and he bulls his way for a 1st down at the 45.
Again, Perry Kovash just really off the line of scrimmage and running over people.
Jeff Haug stopped him, but not before the Titans had gotten out to the 45 and a 1st down.
I'd like to know what head coach Bill Knowles said to the Trinity Titans at halftime, because he must have said something, because they've come out with fire in their eyes and they have not let up here in this period.
I formation, 1st down Trinity from their own 45-yard line. Here's the set. Willer spins, keeps it on the option, and he's upended after he gets about 2 to the 47-yard line.
That time, Kovash with the fake up the middle, a good job of deception there by Willer, but he was really covered on the outside as Warren King filled in along with Mike Kelly from their linebacking positions, and Pat was lucky to get 2 yards out of that.
The Titans come out on 2nd down. They need 8. Willer, I formation, slot left. Willer under center. Rolling to this side. He's going to throw. He's looking. He's throwing downfield. It's intercepted by Fargo. Gathered in by Jeff Haug, and Fargo will take over at their own 31-yard line.
That time, Willer had Billy Anner behind the defensive secondary. The pass was well thrown, but just not quite strong enough down around the 31-yard line. Haug went high into the air to prevent Anner from coming back behind him. Made a good defensive play, came up with the interception. That is Trinity's 2nd turnover of the afternoon.
A minute 48 remaining in the 3rd period. Here comes the set. Weber for Fargo South. I formation. Weber is going to fade to throw this time. He's looking back across the field. They swing it to the far side, and it's not going to go for anything. In fact, it's going to go for a loss. Tom Yonner. That was a little flare pass off to the left side. Mark Hankins was in there to take him right after he gathered in the ball and drop him for about a 3 or 4 yard loss back at the 26-yard line.
That was a great effort that time by Mark Hankins as he came back from his defensive end and just stayed at home as they ran it to the opposite side and floated it all the way back across, but Hankins not fooled and dropped him for the loss.
Weber sets. Fumble, I believe. Trinity may have it. It looks to me like Trinity does. Yes, it was number 74, Russ Binstock, that fell on that football. And Trinity takes it 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line of Fargo South. 1 minute left in the 3rd period.
And right now, Bob, those turnovers really are going to come back and haunt Fargo South. They have fumbled twice. Let's check that. 3 times they have fumbled, lost all 3, have had 2 interceptions, 5 turnovers, and you just don't do that against Trinity's defense.
Willer, I formation. Willer fades to throw. He looks. He's coming back across the grain. They were going to Mossbroker, but it looked like Mossbroker was tripped up there, and a flag is down.
I think it may be roughing the passer. Mossbroker collided back, coming out of the backfield, collided with Perry Kovash, and he went to the ground, and the pass was incomplete, not even close. But I believe we may have a roughing the passer penalty as South that time really poured in, and Willer got rid of it. And after he got rid of it, a count of about 1,000, 1,002, one of the Bruins came in and really nailed him, and I believe that will be the call against Fargo South.
They're stepping it off right now against the Fargo South Bruins. That will move the ball down to the 12-yard line. It'll be first down from the 12 for the Trinity Titans with 52 seconds left in the third period.
That was a roughing the passer penalty, and that will be Fargo South's fourth penalty of the afternoon. They have been penalized 4 times for 40 yards.
Willer sets them up. Kovash and Hushka are the running backs. The give is to Hushka up the middle. Hushka gets to the 10, very near the 10 before he's cut down. It'll be about a 2-yard gain. And Pete Beistall made the stop. Make it at the 11-yard line, a gain of a yard. It'll bring up 2nd and 9.
Right now, the Titans, I'm sure, are just content. They're not going to do anything, I don't think, fancy down there. They're in field goal range. They've got the football right in the middle. They've got that lead of 21-6. They'd like to get it into the end zone, but if they do, it's just going to be on power.
Willer rolling to the outside. He breaks a tackle, but he's still going to be smothered back at the 15. It'll bring up a 3rd down and long for Trinity.
Just when you think they're going to keep pounding away up the middle, Willer that time ran the quarterback option and just faked it right up the middle to Kovash, but Fargo South really had that play contained well on the outside, and that will be the last play of the third period.
That's the end of the third period with Trinity leading 21-6. It's time to get ready for winter. And wintertime worries with a dependable pick. 3rd down and a big one for the Trinity Titans as they set triple set again. Willer rolling to the far side. He's going to throw into the end zone. It's going to be complete to Hushka at the 2-yard line.
A great bit of ball work that time by Willer as he had Musburger out in the flat. Pump fake to Willer, or pump faked rather to Musburger, Willer did, and Hushka floated into the secondary area that was left open when Musburger cleared the defensive backs out, and Willer really drilled that in there because Fargo South's number 60, Mike Kelly, was right on top of Hushka, and that's going to be awful close to a first down.
They're calling for a measurement from the far sideline. And it is a first down, 1st and goal Trinity from the 2-yard line. 11:44 left in the ball game. Set. Willer brings them up on 1st down. He's got Hushka and Kovash in the backfield. The set, the give is to Willer, keeps it. And he's into the end zone for the touchdown. Again, he faked to Hushka up, or rather to Perry Kovash up the middle and rolled to the left side and went in for the TD. And it's now 27-6 Trinity.
A great bit of deception again by Willer, and Pat has really asserted himself here in the second half. He's been the leader for the Titans all year, controlling the football game, offensively calling the plays and doing a great job of running. At that time, everybody was on top of Kovash, and Pat had the room to get into the end zone for the touchdown.
Wandler will go for the point after. Here's the set. The kick is up. It's going to be no good this time, and that's the first miss of the afternoon for Wandler. So the score remains 27-6. Trinity out front. We've got 11:33 left in the ball game. Wandler will be kicking, and he'll have Todd Pavick deep. Wandler comes forward. Here's the boot. He gets a bit of a toe in it, a high kick that's taken at the 15. Back to the 20, coming to this side to the 25, and Anner cuts him down after he gets to the 32-yard line. Once again, it was a shorter kick, and it was gathered in by Dave Klein. 11:27 left in the ball game. 27-6. The Trinity Titans dominating the second half to this point. And Weber brings them out now as they trail. I formation Weber sets. He fades to throw. He's looking long on 1st down. He's got his receiver, and his receiver is going to be hit at the 42-yard line, but it's enough, or very near enough, for a 1st down. And the receiver downfield was Rick Anderson.
And Perry Kovash over there in the tackle along with Tom Keller. And just quickly, Bob, looking at our stats now after 3 periods of play, total yardage, Dickinson Trinity has 216 total yards to 217 total yards. Only 33 total yards for Fargo South in that third period compared to 123 for the Trinity Titans.
Here's the set. Weber, 2nd and a yard. Weber sends a man in motion. He's rolling to the far side on the option, and he's going to be cut down short, and he may have lost a couple of yards. Back at about the 42-yard line, Keith Antone led the attack.
Good defensive play that time by Antone. He fought off the offensive man on him and just wrapped up Weber, and that was a loss back of about a half yard. So now it's a big third down play, and I guess every play, whether it's first, second, third, or fourth, is going to be big for Fargo South because they need some big offensive plays and in a hurry.
Third, the set, the give. No! They handed off to Coleman, and he was stopped. Getting through there for Trinity was number 52 for the Trinity Titans. That's Kurt Lease. He got him in the backfield, loss of a yard. It'll bring up 4th and 2.
And I tell you, that time Coleman, after he got hit, he kind of got up and looked at Kurt Lease and said, "What are you doing?" Because Lease was all over him, and Coleman in that first half really was running over the Dickinson Trinity Titans. But we've had a tale of 2 ball games there. All first half Fargo South, and the second half has been just completely controlled by Dickinson Trinity.
And Fargo now on 4th down. It looks like they're going to go for it on 4th down. Weber brings them up. They are definitely going for it. They need 2. Weber fades to throw. He's looking. He's firing. He's got his man, and it's complete in Trinity territory at the 43-yard line. So on a 4th down and 2, they, from deep in Trinity territory, or rather in their own territory, they move it out to a 1st down in Trinity territory at the 43.
Weber that time, had good pass protection, dropped back, threw the pass, completed it. His receiver coming from the tight end position, Sanford, had lots of room, made a good catch for the 1st down.
Weber fading to throw again. He's looking. He's throwing it up in the air. It's going to be taken at the 19-yard line. A floater that was gathered in by Jeff Haug. He just walked underneath it. And the Fargo South Spartans are generating some excitement right now as they get to the Trinity 19. 9:03 left in the ball game. And Trinity takes the timeout.
And right now, Fargo South getting excellent pass protection. And that time, like you mentioned, Weber just floated that one out there. Tom Keller and Billy Anna were back there, but neither one appeared to make the play to get back there. It appeared that they both had time, but the receiver just walked under it down at the 19-yard line. So right now, 27-6 our score. Trinity with the lead, but Fargo South trying very desperately to get back into this football game.
1st down, Fargo South. Weber sends a man in motion, takes the count, fakes the handoff, goes to the inside reverse, and they lose about 5. Antone, I think, was in there, along with Kurt Lease, and a loss back to the 23-yard line. A 4-yard loss. It'll bring up a 2nd and 14.
And all of a sudden, the nose guard defensive tackles for Dickinson Trinity are beating Fargo South's offensive line. That time, Kurt Lease just quickly got into the backfield and just completely made havoc of that play.
I formation, 2nd down. Weber fading to throw. He's looking. He's firing downfield. It is incomplete. Anner almost had an interception. Todd Pavick broke that one up. It'll bring up a 3rd and 14. 8:28 left in the ball game.
That was a good defensive play by Pavick that time because Anner was just right there ready for it. Pavick seen it, and just as soon as Anner got his hands on it, just made a block into him and knocked the football out of his hands.
8:28 remaining. Weber brings them up. 3rd down. They need 14. I formation. Weber sets. He fakes inside, pitches wide. They're going to go with the pitch and the pass. And a flag is down, and interference is going to be charged against Trinity. Keller will be charged with the interference. And what do they get on that? Halfway to the goal line?
I believe it'll be a 15-yard penalty. It used to be last year you would get it at the 1-yard line, but they're out at the 19, 15-yard penalty. They'll probably get half the distance to the goal line, which would be a 1st down. And that is only Trinity's 2nd penalty of the afternoon. That time, Tommy Keller had the man covered, but the pass underthrown a little bit. The receiver came back in the end zone trying to grab it. Keller went up over his shoulder, put one hand on his shoulder trying to bat it away. He did bat it away, but that is pass interference, and that will cost the Titans a penalty, only their 2nd penalty of the day.
I don't think it does give them a 1st down. Yes, it does. It moves the ball down to the 11-yard line and gives Fargo a 1st down at the Trinity 11-yard line. 8:21 remaining to be played in the ball game. Trinity leading 27-6.
Fargo South now quickly wants to get that football into the end zone because they have used up a lot of time on this drive, and that's something that's not on their side.
Weber is throwing. He's got his man open in the end zone for a touchdown. That makes it 27-12 with 8:17 left in the ball game. So Fargo has been able to get their 2nd touchdown of the afternoon. That's something no other team has done this year against the Trinity Titan first-string defense, is score 2 touchdowns in an afternoon. Let's see what they're going to do. It looks like they're going to go for 2 here.
Defense!
And a big two-pointer, Weber rolls to this side. He's throwing into the end zone. They have it for 2, and that makes it 27-14. And that means that 2 more touchdowns could put Fargo North out in front. So the Trinity Titans have their work cut out for them with 8:17 left in the ballgame. Aaron Anner are the deep man. Here comes the kick. A little squibble. They're trying to run an onside kick. And Trinity will take over.
No, South got it.
South got it, but it wasn't touched, or doesn't it have to be touched?
Doesn't have to be touched on an onside kick. That time, number 81 came up again. Sanford on the onside kick. It has to go 10 yards. Now the official's talking, but it does not have to be touched. That's right. It is South's football as they come up with the onside kick. And Trinity looked like they were not expecting that at all, and that was something that I felt the Bruins might try, because they've got to get back in it quick, and right now they can get back into it very quickly here as they take over offensively at Trinity's 42-yard line.
8 minutes remaining in the ballgame. The Fargo South Bruins come up trailing 27-14. Weber I formation. Here's the set. Weber fading to throw. He's got good protection. He's firing and being hit immediately. As he gathered in that football, Hushka knocked Jeff Haug off his feet, but Haug hung on, and it'll be very close to a first down at about the 38-yard line of Trinity.
Right now, Weber is getting lots of time back there to pass, and he's had 2 interceptions, but all of a sudden, late in this third period and early in the fourth period here, he's putting together some very impressive passing statistics. And Dickinson Trinity right now having trouble on their coverage, as that time the receiver wide open, and in the last 2 pass plays, Sanford has been wide open, so the Titans may have to make some adjustments. A big defensive series for Trinity.
Weber, the give is up the middle. Antone gathers him in for a gain of about a yard. As the handoff went to Kurt Coleman, and Coleman got to the 35-yard line rather, and was cut down there. 7:36 left in the ballgame. 27-14. Fargo South trailing, but they're threatening once again on an onside kick. They took over. And here's the set. Weber sends a man in motion. He rolls to this side. He's looking to throw. He's going to come back across the grain. He's hit hard, and Keller will intercept for the Trinity Titans. And he's moving back to the far side. He turns the corner and gets out to about the 17-yard line, and Trinity takes possession and stymies that drive by Fargo on a big interception by Tom Keller.
And that is Tom's second interception of the afternoon, and that time he did just what you want your free safety to do. He just played back, hung back, and that time Weber got good defensive pressure, had a receiver down there. Number 21, Todd Pavick, was down there, but Keller just kind of hid in the secondary, and as soon as he let it go, stepped up, made the interception, made a nice return back out to about the 17-yard line, about a 10-yard return, and that is a big break for the Titans. That is their third interception of the afternoon.
Now they'd like to use up some clock as they come out. Willer under center. He'll fake, keep it on the option, and get about 2 yards out near the 19-yard line before he's cut down as he tried to roll to the left side.
Trinity right now with that scoreboard on their clock, they want to pick up some first downs, move it out, and possibly get it out to about midfield, run 2-3 minutes off, and then let Tommy Keller's foot do some work and punch South down into a hole, and just try and keep that clock on their side, because right now that is Trinity's best friend, that time clock, as time continues to wind down.
Here's the set. Willer under center. Second down, they need 9. The give is to Kovash. Kovash running up the middle, gets it out to the 25-yard line. It'll be about 2 yards short of a first down. It'll bring up 3rd and 2.
Good blocking that time on the right side, Trinity's offensive line. Mark Hankins at the tight end position, and Todd Wandler did a little crisscross there, and that cleared out a nice hole, and Kovash very quickly threw it before Al Schaefer of Fargo South came up and made the defensive play.
5:35 remaining in the ball game as the clock continues to run, and Trinity needs 2 yards, and a big 2 right here. Willer on the long count, on the option. He'll turn upfield. He won't get it. He'll be at about the 21-yard line, and he'll be short of a first down. Trinity will have to kick it away.
That time Willer tried to turn that play inside. He looked outside, looked at the option, decided he'd be better off to keep it. He did, but he just fell short of that first down by 1 yard. A good defensive play that time by Scott Schultz from his left tackle position. He wrapped Willer up and didn't give him an opportunity to really do anything with the football.
Tom Keller will be kicking it from his own 10-yard line. Tom needs a big boot right here. Here's the snap, a good snap. Keller gets a booming kick away. That his fair catch is called for. It's a loose football. Trinity has it. 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line of Fargo South. And who fell on that football? Brent Wandler, the junior, was down there, and a loose football. He gathered it in, and Trinity takes it 1st and 10, and that was the break that the Titans needed. 4:41 left in the ball game.
That is Fargo South's 4th fumble of the afternoon. Dickinson Trinity has recovered all of them. They have had 3 passes intercepted, so South with 7 turnovers against Dickinson Trinity.
4:33 left in the ball game. Trinity now at the Fargo South 31-yard line. Willer brings them up by formation. Here's the set. Willer under center, sends a man in motion, pitches wide to Hushka. Hushka is going to be caught for a loss back at the 37-yard line. As number 76 got in there, John Sorgard got in there to make the tackle. A loss of 5 on the play. It'll bring up 2nd and 15.
That time, that play never really got off the line of scrimmage because Willer, slow getting out from the center, pitched it to Hushka, and Hushka didn't really even have an opportunity to look upfield as Sorgard right in there on top of him. A loss of 5 on the play. But right now, Trinity just content to hold on to that football and run the clock out with no fumbles or interception.
A triple set now to the left. The give is to Kovash up the middle. Kovash gets 3 or 4 yards down to the 33-yard line. And it'll bring up a 3rd down. Mike Kelly made the tackle. 3rd and 13 for Trinity. 3:28 remaining on the scoreboard clock. And Trinity is very content to use up all the time they can on that scoreboard clock right now.
Right now they're sending Kurt Lease in, or Tom Freet rather, coming in. Him and Wandler exchanging positions in that offensive line, bringing the play in from head coach Bill Knoll. And I don't think Trinity will put it into the air, but they've had success this afternoon, so let's see what Willer does. And that time, I think, too much time.
They were using up all the clock they could, and they got a delay of game penalty, and that's all right because if they do have to kick it away from where they are, they would probably try to angle it toward the out-of-bounds line, and if they got it into the end zone, they'd still gain 20.
So Dickinson Trinity right now sitting in the driver's seat. We still have about 3 minutes remaining to play in this football game, and the Titans want to hang on to that football, and they've got a big 3rd down play right here.
Willer brings them up. I formation. Willer fades to throw. He's looking. He's firing. Anner is hit just as he gathers in the football. Incomplete forward pass will bring up 4th down. Tom Yonner made the hit, and Keller will come in to kick it away.
And that time, Billy Anner did a good job of getting up into the air, but Tom Yonner was equal on defense as Anner got the hands on the football. Yonner made the hit, knocked the ball loose, and Willer did a good job that time of getting it off because he was really pressured by the defensive ends of Fargo South on that play.
27-14. Trinity leads 3 minutes left in the ball game. Tom Keller steps back in punt formation, takes the snap. He puts a high kick up. Fair catch is being called for, and it's going to roll dead at about the 13-yard line.
So everybody right now knows what the Fargo South Bruins are going to do. It's not a choice that I'm sure they're happy with, but Weber is going to have to come out. He's going to have to put that football in the air, and the Trinity defense, with the exception possibly of the top front 4, will be all hanging back very loose, and they'll give them some of the short yardage passes, the 5-10 yarders up the field, but they're not going to let anything go long.
Weber under center, fading to throw on 1st. He's scrambling, he's being chased, and he's going to be dropped. A face masking penalty probably will be charged against Binstock back at the 1-yard line.
Binstock that time very quickly got around the defensive end and offensive end and tackle for Fargo South. He beat Sanford badly that time. Weber will drop back to about the 5. He looked up, seen Binstock there, and just spun away once, and then Russ got him, but he got him by the face mask, so that will cost the Titans, and we'll have to wait and see if that will be a 1st down. It should be an automatic 1st down for Fargo South. I believe now they went from the point of the infraction, which was back at the 1 yard line. So it'll be, I guess, a gain of about 5 yards. They move it from the 1 out to about the 16.
It'll be 1st and 6 for Fargo. 2:35 left in the ball game. 27-14, Trinity leading, state championship ball game. Weber under center. Here's the set. Weber sends a man in motion. He takes a long count. Now he fades to throw. He's got receivers downfield. He's being chased. He's looking long downfield. It's going to be taken and being dropped at the 45-yard line of Trinity. The receiver was Tom Yanner, and Anner cut him down, but not before Fargo got into Trinity territory at the 43-yard line. 2:14 remaining in the ball game right now.
A 41-yard pass completion, and again, Anner and Keller back there, and it looked like they had an opportunity to step up and bat it away, but they kind of watched it float into Yanner's hand, and that keeps South's hopes alive.
27-14, Trinity with the lead. Weber with the football. Weber will fade to throw again. He sends a little flare pass out. They try to lateral it off. It doesn't work very well. Rick Anderson wound up with the football, and he was dropped after about a 5-yard loss. And right now, Fargo will take an official timeout. Correction, we've got an official timeout right now as the receiver Anderson was shaken up on the play. 1:52 left in the ball game. Trinity leading 27-14.
Quarterback Mike Weber is 12 of 19 in the passing department this afternoon for 163 yards. He has had 1 touchdown, but the key factor in that, he's thrown for a whole lot of yards, but he's also had 3 passes picked off this afternoon. So actually he's put the ball up 19 times, completed 12 and 3 to Trinity, so 15 of his 19 passes have been caught by either Trinity or Fargo South. He's having a super day at quarterback.
2nd down, Weber pitches back. They give on the little flea flicker. They're going into some trick plays now that are not working. That one got him another yard. It'll bring up a 3rd and 3.
That time they just flipped it back to the man in motion, and he flipped it up to the line of scrimmage to Coleman, and Coleman in return lateraled it back to the halfback, Rick Anderson, and it went for a very little gain, about 1 yard. Trinity is very set for those plays. Apparently they had a look at some of that activity on film earlier this week, and they're not going to be fooled by it.
They went with it developed into what should have been a screen, but it did not work out, and it'll bring up a 3rd and 3 for Fargo. 1:34 remaining in the ball game right now.
Dickinson Trinity, I'm sure they'll be content if Fargo South wants to keep the play up the middle and on the field to do that. They have not tried to get that football on the sideline, any of their pass patterns, and they got to do that to stop that clock because they are getting short on timeouts. And if you're going to keep running it up the middle, passing it up the middle, and not having an opportunity for your receiver to get out of bounds, if you run out of timeouts, that is really going to hurt you.
Weber brings them up. 3rd down, they need 4. Here's the set. Weber dropping straight back to throw. He pumps once. He fires long downfield. It's going to be intercepted by Trinity again. Tom Keller gathers it in at the 2-yard line. Trinity will have it 1st and 10, and they should be able to use up the rest of that clock now.
That was just a hope and a prayer. You drop back and throw that football and say, I hope it's completed, and then you say a quick prayer, and that time Tommy Keller, who has had a super day at defensive back, came up with his 3rd interception of the afternoon.
I don't even think Trinity will try to move it out from there. I think they'll probably just drop on the football. Fargo North must have used up all their timeouts, at least 2 of them. They would probably have 1 left. The clock running with just over a minute remaining. Willer on 1st down. Here's the set. Willer straight ahead, flag down.
Titans are going to be content. They're just going to fall on it. They'll be willing to punt the football because if they can control it for 4 downs, there'll be absolutely very little time left when they give the ball back to Fargo South.
57 seconds remaining right now. Motion penalty against Trinity. Half the distance to the goal line. No, they probably won't take the penalty. I would think Fargo would take the play and use up the play. That'll bring up a 2nd and 8 as he got 2 yards on that play. The clock running again with 53 seconds remaining now. Willer brings them out. They set in an open backfield this time. Willer under center. Again, Willer right up the middle. And Willer bursts forward to about the 8-yard line, maybe the 9-yard line. And it looks like Trinity Titans are going to be the first team in Dickinson history to walk off with a state championship. Fargo takes a timeout to stop the clock with 32 seconds remaining in the ball game. No Dickinson school has ever won a state championship, but Trinity is 32 seconds away from tucking it in here this afternoon. And it's the first time that the WDA has won the state title since 1959.
And I think while we've got a little bit of time here, 32 seconds remaining, Trinity with the football, the Titans over there congratulating each other, hugging each other. One of the people that we have to give credit to is head coach Bill Knoll, Mike Kiedorowski, Kerry Laguerra, because they stepped in to a situation where they had some excellent kids, but these kids have just been consistent all year long. Today they struggled in the first half. They got down, but they came out in that third period, showed their true character, and dominated the game, and just haven't really let South get back into this contest.
3rd down and 3 for Trinity. Willer again will just sneak up the middle. And the clock running with 18 seconds remaining. And Fargo again stops the clock. They must have had a couple of timeouts left, but it's a first down Trinity. They do not stop the clock. It's a first down Trinity. And the clock will run with 17 seconds remaining. And right now, I don't even think they'll huddle. They're just getting excited for that clock to run out and the Trinity Titans to tuck away the state Class A football championship 27-14 over the Fargo South Bruins. That's the end of the ball game. The confetti flies. The crowd goes wild. The Trinity Titans have won the ball game by the score of 27-14.
But it's awful nice to have that red and white, the winner and the state champion for the first time in the history of Dickinson. And again, our congratulations just go out to the Dickinson Trinity Titans fans, the schools, the players, and with all the fans in the stands this afternoon, we have to give credit to the city of Dickinson because they really turned out and supported the Trinity Titans this afternoon, who have claimed their first ever school state championship, and they did it over Fargo South by a score of 27-14.
When you look back at the beginning of this season, the Trinity Titans have to be the smallest school in big Class A football, at least, with 384 students, I believe, in high school. They started the season without a practice field. Their field was turned into a housing project, and they had to practice on the old skating rink, where they put up some 2x4s at each end of the skating rink so they could practice some points after. And they practiced on that field until school started. Then they went to their new practice field, which is located behind the high school. That was not in very good condition, but they did use it for the rest of the season. So they started the season without a practice field, and they wound up the state Class A football champion.
7-14. Looking at our stats this afternoon, first of all, for Fargo South, they had 37 rushes, 163 yards, 4 of 9 for 83 yards, Fargo South, 46 rushes, 161 yards, 12 of 20 in the passing department for 164 yards, first downs 11, total yards 325 total yards for the Fargo South Bruins. But turnover-wise, Fargo South with 4 interceptions, 3 of those by Tommy Keller. They fumbled the football 3 times. Trinity recovered all of those. They had 7 turnovers in the football game, and you cannot defeat a Dickinson Trinity Titan team turning that football over 7 times, and the Titans just a great effort defensively this afternoon. Now for Dickinson Trinity Titans, 37 rushes, 163 yards. They did outrush Fargo South by 2 yards. But in the passing department, Pat Willer was 4 of 9, 83 yards. He had 1 interception, first downs 8 for the Titans, 246 total yards for Dickinson Trinity, compared to 325 for Fargo South. Willer a 2-yard run, 11:33 of the fourth, made it 27-6. The extra point attempt was not good. Mike Weber in the fourth for South, 11-yard touchdown pass to Ken Sanford. And the extra point was a pass from Weber to Sanford. It was good. That made it 27-14, and that's the way the final score ended. Bob?
Well, the trophies have just been awarded down there, and the 4 kids that are deserving of coming and taking that trophy for Trinity, Willer, Hushka, Perry Kovash, and Wandler, come over and pick up the trophy. And now Bob Willer has his kid brother, and he's trying to carry him around down there. He's pretty happy, and a couple of other brother-in-laws and what have you are down there, and they are a happy bunch of people. The Trinity Titans winning their first championship ever, and now the entire Titan team is coming over to the bench. I think they're planning a gathering over at the school for this Trinity Titan football team immediately following this football game. And the Trinity Titan Booster Club has set up a victory celebration at the KFC Club with a smorgasbord this afternoon at 6 o'clock. So,
and I think I just seen Bill Nold smile and take a great big deep breath because he has to be awful happy with the kids this afternoon. It's been an exciting season for him, a long season. They have gone undefeated, and they have done it. And there's just an awful lot of happy people down here, and it is awful good and awful nice to see because Dickinson Trinity really deserved it. These kids have worked for it all year, and they're 12-0, and they will go down as one of the better Class A football teams in the state of North Dakota as they claim the state championship. And there's the trophy, Todd Wandler, Hushka high above their heads. And
the whole team came over to take that trophy. I guess it wasn't the trophy they were getting. Probably they get participation awards. And that's what the 4 kids picked up. But the whole team comes over and takes that trophy. And they are a proud football team. And they broke a 14-game winning streak that Fargo South had going into this ball game. So it proves that if you've got the right kind of spirit, you can get through a season.
And it helps to have some good kids like the Trinity Titans had, too, because they had kids with excellent attitudes, good ability, and there goes Billy Anner's helmet, 22 feet in the air, comes back down, but there are going to be some awful happy people in that locker room tonight.
And that ends it this afternoon from Whitney Stadium here in Dickinson. We hope you've enjoyed the broadcast of this state championship football game. Rod Kleinian and Bob Weiler saying thanks a whole lot for being with us. Thanks, Trinity Titans, for a fantastic football season. Thanks, fans, for the great support this year. From Whitney Stadium, Bob Weiler's bidding you a pleasant good afternoon.
And in 1979, no football team in the state of North Dakota did it better than the state champion Dickinson Trinity Titans. The Titans culminated a perfect season which began way back in August with a 27-14 victory over the Fargo South Bruins at an emotion-packed Whitney Stadium. For head coach Bill Nold, the coaching staff, the players, the school, and the fans, it will be a season long remembered. The perfect season started on August 31st when the Titans opened with an impressive win over Sturgis, South Dakota. The following week, the Titans shut out Glendive High School. That shutout would be the first of 6 shutouts in the 1979 football season for Trinity. September 15th. That date marked the real start of the season for the Titans as they went on the road to Hughes Field in Bismarck to face the Bob Feeney-coached Demons. The Titans came away with a 27-15 victory over the Demons and were on their way to the WDA title. The Bismarck contest had 2 interesting sidelights. It would be the most points the Titans defense would give up for the remainder of the year in one game, and it was the closest any team would come to Trinity on their march to the state championship. The next weekend, it was another Bismarck school, the Century Patriots, who would test the Titans, but the Patriots found out the Titans were for real as they shut them out by a score of 35-0. The final weekend in September had the Titans facing their third consecutive Bismarck school, the St. Mary Saints, and again the Titans prevailed with a 30-3 win. The Titans moved into the month of October with a perfect 5-0 mark and were on the road to face a stubborn Williston team. But again, the Titans came away with win number 6 as they defeated the Coyotes 21-7. Saturday, October 13th, the WDA showdown with Minot High Magicians and the Dickinson Trinity Titans meeting at Whitney Stadium, and when the smoke had cleared, the Titans had established themselves as the best in the West and in the minds of the state's sportscasters and sports writers as they were voted the #1 team in the state, a spot they would hold on to for the remainder of the year. The Titans won the Minot contest 35-0 to start a streak of 4 consecutive shutouts over their opponents. Crosstown rival Dickinson was next on the Titans' schedule, and Trinity, after a close first half, made the Midgets their 4th shutout victim of the season. The final regular season opponent of the year was Mandan, and the Braves were the Titans' defensive unit's 5th shutout of the year as the Titans capped a perfect regular season at 9-0 and set their sights on the state Class A playoffs and a state championship. Fargo North, a team that stopped Trinity 14-0 in the semifinals of the playoffs last year, would be the Titans' first-round opponent this season. The Spartans of Coach Charlie Hanisch made the trip to Dickinson to face the Titans on a very cold Tuesday night, and the Titans' defense again proved to be rude hosts as they dominated Fargo North, and the Titans were only 2 steps away from their first-ever state title as they won 28-0. 4 days later, the surprising Valley City Highliners, like the Titans, unbeaten, brought their perfect 10-0 mark to Whitney Stadium, and by 9 p.m. Saturday night, there were only 2 undefeated teams left in the state, and they would meet Saturday, November 10th in Dickinson as the Titans stopped Valley City 36-7. Championship Saturday, it was deemed, November 10th. The #1 and #2 teams in the state, Dickinson Trinity and Fargo South, would meet at 1 p.m. for supremacy in the state of North Dakota in Class A football. It was a week where the city of Dickinson was swept by Titan fever, as the Trinity squad was 1 game away from giving Dickinson its first-ever state title. It was a week where the weather would not cooperate. It was a week where the mayor of Dickinson, Henry Shank, proclaimed Friday Red and White Day for the Trinity Titans team. For the coaches and the school, it was a week that seemed like 2. Saturday's championship was billed as a battle of 2 defensive units that allowed less than 7 points per game, and with the bad weather all week, it appeared that the defensive battle would take place. But Saturday morning came, and so did the sun, and even the wind took a vacation, leaving ideal playing conditions and a temperature at the 30-degree mark. The fans began filling Whitney Stadium at 11 a.m., 2 hours before game time, and by kickoff time, Whitney Stadium was jam-packed with a very emotional and enthusiastic crowd settled down for the battles of the Titans and the Bruins. And no one was disappointed because, like the weather, the Titans and Bruins played a classic championship game with big offensive and defensive plays, hard hitting, and excitement. The Titans fell behind early in the game, 6-0, but rallied on the speed and heart of running back Doug Hushka, who broke a 49-yard touchdown run to give the Titans a 7-6 lead, a lead they would not relinquish for the rest of the day. The score at the half remained 7-6, and like the Titans did all season long, they dominated the second half, scoring 14 points in less than 5 minutes of the third period to put a lock on the state title. The Titans added 1 more score to make it 27-6 before the Bruins rallied on a touchdown and the recovery of an onside kick. But Trinity free safety Tom Keller made his 3rd interception of the day to give the Titans and the joyous crowd at Whitney Stadium a reason to celebrate. And celebrate they did as the Titans, by a 27-14 score, were proclaimed the state champions of Class A football in North Dakota. Sunday afternoon, KDIX Sports Director Rod Kleinion visited the home of Bill and Vicki Nold to reflect on their thoughts of the past season. Also on hand at the Nold home were Trinity Athletic Director Ken Keller, assistant coaches Kerry Laguerra and Mike Kietarowski. Rod Kleinion talked with Bill Nold about the state championship game, the season, and most importantly, the Trinity Titans.
Well, Rod, we definitely had a championship effort. We played very well. We were pleased with our effort, even throughout the first half. We had poor field position the entire first half, and defensively we didn't play as well as we've played all year, but don't chart that up to a poor effort on our part. Chart that up to an excellent effort on South's part. very difficult to get points on the board or do a lot of things when you've got your back to the end zone almost the entire first half. But all in all, just another very good effort by our football team, and they had 12 of them this year.
Now, Bill, looking back at some individual performances yesterday, of course, Doug Huschka had a good game for you both offensively and defensively, but I thought personally one of the individuals that stood out was probably Perry Kovash. He had a big touchdown run for you, and why don't we just run over the performance of individual-wise and some of the people that you thought had a super effort yesterday for you?
Well, there were a lot of them, Rod. Perry, I guess, kind of set the tone for things in the second half when he took that little swing pass from Pat and just... I thought he faked out 2 people and stiff-armed another one and just outran another one. A tremendous individual effort. And yet that is what kind of stood out because he had the ball in his hands. But then if you looked real close in that third quarter, I don't think we had one average effort out of any of our people, whether they were linemen, backs, offense, or defense. It was just a tremendous effort. Our kids at halftime didn't lose their poise. They weren't super excited or worried about the fact that hey, we're only up by 1 point, and it seemed like it was very quiet in the grandstands about that time, and I don't know, maybe we got a little spoiled on seeing good football this year because the Titans had a great year and the Blue Hawks had a great year, and maybe we're just used to seeing things happen a little easier, but South had a very good team. Our efforts, again, I thought Pat Willer had a good ball game. I hate to single people out, but he did some things well for us. When there was nothing there, he put the ball where it should be, and that was either our guys get it or nobody. Kovash, a tremendous effort again, and of course Huschka, just another outstanding effort. His long 49-yard touchdown run was really a thing to behold. And on that play, you have to single out Kovash. Tremendous effort, too, for the block he threw on the outside, and Tommy Freed led the blocking around the end and made an excellent block to spring Doug to actually let him go all the way. Looking back at efforts, I guess I'm most proud maybe of our 3 people in the middle offensively. We had a center that's less than 150 pounds and 2 guards that were 150, and people say, why didn't they move the ball? Well, maybe there was a little bit of a mismatch in the middle. South was very big. They weren't 300-pound people, but they didn't have anybody below 180 in the whole lineup, and that excellent speed that they had really forced us to make some adjustments. But we had tremendous efforts all the way around.
Now, Bill, let's go back, look over the past season. Of course, you opened your season with 2 non-conference victories over Sturgis and Glendive, Dawson County Community High School. And looking back at the season, of course, 12-0, I guess it's hard to maybe pick out a point in the season where you thought the kids really came together, really gelled, or where you thought you had a very decent chance to pick up the state championship. But looking back over the schedule, was there a point when you thought, hey, maybe this is the time and this is a group that we're going to do it with?
Well, I don't think there was a time where we thought, hey, we can win the state championship. If there was a time where this team gelled, I would have to say last fall, maybe on the ride back from Fargo North. This crew of kids wanted it this year, and I think the time that I first realized it was maybe the first day of practice when we had 17 seniors show up, all in excellent physical condition and ready to play good football. As far as picking a time where we really started to think championship football game, I think that happened final buzzer of the Valley City game.
Now, Bill, these kids, like you mentioned in practice, you had 17 seniors. Just talk a little bit about the character of this group, because you've played on a state championship team at Wahpeton High School. Now you've coached one, and this was a pretty excellent group of kids, especially those seniors.
Outstanding. The championship team that I was involved with at Wahpeton, I thought that was an exception. You don't see those kind of teams come along very often, and I guess maybe in Fargo they see them come along every year. South being no exception this year. They're another tremendous team with outstanding leadership. But our kids, the character, the desire, the fan backing, the parental help, just tremendous. It all meshed together and really made for an outstanding year. I think the secret to our leadership was that we didn't have a leader. We had a number of leaders. We had a number of kids who would pick each other up once in a while, and when things started to get bad, somebody would come along and get us perked up a little bit. But the secret to our season as far as leadership had to be that we had quite a few of them. At times we had 15 leaders that were taking turns handling the duties.
Now, Bill, looking back again at just the portion of the WDA season, of course, this is the first time the Trinity Titans went undefeated through the WDA season, and of course, I guess the closest anyone came to you was Bismarck. That was a 27-15 ball game. But reviewing the WDA season, looking back at it, were you happy with the results? You have to be happy, of course, winning the conference title. But looking back at it, did the conference shape up the way you thought it would for the 1979 football year?
Well, if somebody would have said that a team was going to go through undefeated and win the conference, I would have doubted that. Be it us or Minot or Century or Bismarck or any of the teams that ended up on top, I wouldn't have believed that. Our week-to-week efforts were so tremendously good that maybe that was the secret. We played her week by week, and we didn't look ahead to any other opponent. Season-wise, I don't know. You know, they pick them before the year starts. That's pretty hard to do. Some of these teams graduate 10, 15 kids a year, and yet they come back with all kinds of seniors again. So that's very difficult to really determine if it went the way you thought it would. I'm glad it went the way it did. That's, you know, about all I can say about that, I guess.
Now, Bill, the playoffs, of course, you had 3 very big, very emotional games in a period of 3 weeks, rather, Fargo North, Valley City, and of course Fargo South for the state championship. As a coach, what was the toughest thing in preparing for these opponents, besides the fact that you didn't have a lot of time for a couple of those opponents to get ready? But from the coaching aspect, what was hardest about those playoff games?
Well, I don't know if there was anything real hard about it. Shortage of time was difficult, and the adverse weather we had, but we forgive all that when we got a day to play like we had on Saturday afternoons. But as far as coaching, it was not as difficult as maybe somebody would think, because we do have tremendous kids. When we prepare them, they seem to just take what we give them and carry out everything for us. And I guess, in a way, there was nothing real difficult except shortage of time and the fact that you have to stay up a little bit later than you want to once in a while. But otherwise, no. There was no difficulty in preparation. I thought we were well prepared for all of the games that we went into. And, of course, when you see the kids play, maybe they make you look a little better than you coach sometimes, too, Ron.
Okay.
Dickinson Trinity Athletic Director Ken Keller, who has been at the school since 1965, reflected back on the Titans championship season.
This has got to be one of the best WDA teams that I recall in the last 14 years to go through this schedule undefeated and shut out a lot of these good, potent ball clubs. Comparing them, it's easy to forget the past. You know, we've had 2 championship teams in 69 and 72, and it would be too easy probably to say that these kids were better, but I have to, because I think they were. We had more of them, I guess, more quality athletes on this team than we did on that 69 and 72 team. These kids, you could characterize these kids with three-letter word, you know, win. That's all they've done. They've been together since the 7th grade. I think all 17 of them have been, to my knowledge. They didn't lose a ball game together until they were freshmen. The freshman team, they lost their first game of the year against Mandan, and then won the rest of that schedule. And the sophomores, about half of them started on the varsity, and they only won 1 ball game that year. But I think, you know, that gave them the experience for us to win a WDA this year. And of course, as juniors, we all know what they did last year. They got to the semifinals, and as seniors, they went undefeated. So this is an exceptional crew. Exceptional bunch, like I think Bill says, once-in-a-lifetime crew.
Now, Ken, as athletic director up there, you work with all the sports activities, and I know you were very busy also in the past couple of weeks with playoff activities, and of course throughout the whole fall sports season and the winter sports season coming up. And you did a lot of work, but I know there's a lot of other people that sometimes don't get credit. But why don't maybe we can take a little bit of time and give some people that did a lot of work and give them some credit also.
Yeah, hey, it was a lot of fun. I could do this all the time. We've had, you know, any championship team, you know, there's a lot of people working, like our coaching staff. We had 3 young coaches that have, a total of 6 years football experience coaching between the 3 of them, and they just worked very hard all hours of the night and breaking down these scouting reports, and I guess a guy can appreciate that effort. You know, sometimes some of these things go unnoticed. People take for granted that we show up on a Friday night and, you know, it just happens. No, it's not the case. We've had other people up there. You know, the atmosphere at Trinity has been just super the whole season, and a lot of people have worked very hard. I believe, you know, you're going to forget somebody, but I think Sister Rose, our principal and Bill Hankins, our assistant principal, those people really help pull a lot of strings for us and make our jobs easier, to free us from certain tasks so that we can, do what we've got to do. And then I guess our pep club president, Denise Bergenhar, there's a girl that has worked many long hours, along, of course, with other pep club members and the other cheerleaders. But I guess if we're going to single out people, she's one that has worked very hard. And the cooperation of all of our kids. I need ticket takers, and we've got to get volunteers, and these kids are more than glad to help. And I guess, again, that's the way it's been. All these kids have pulled together and made this a pretty successful season.
Assistant coach Mike Kiedraowski is a familiar name in Dickinson, as he was a standout performer for the Dickinson State College Bluehawks, and Mike had these reflections on the past fall football season.
Well, I mostly worked with offensive backs, defensive backs, and during the games I signaled in the defenses to Perry Kovash, who would be the defensive captain. Just mostly working with the defense. When we broke down during practice, Coach Laguerre and I basically had the defense, and Coach Nold had the offense. Coach Laguerre mostly worked with defensive ends, linebackers, and we both shared our duties with the defensive linemen. But most of all, worked with defensive backs and offensive backs.
Now, Mike, you attended Dickinson State College, and of course you were a member of an 8-1 Dickinson State College Blue Hawk team when Doug Olson was quarterback there. That was some pretty good people for that season for a football team for the college squad. What about working with these high school kids? What was it like working with a group of people like you had at Dickinson Trinity this year?
Mm-hmm. Well, the kids at Trinity, the football players, were very, very mature. We were very pleased about the way they handled all the publicity, especially this last week. And this last week got to be pretty long. There was a bunch of hoot and hollering going around. There was an hour pep rally up at school on Friday, but the kids just took it in stride, and they were just very mature kids, and they could handle it. They were a super bunch of kids to work with. They were just, like we'd say, a championship football team, both talent-wise and mature-wise. They could handle situations that could come up in the game. Like on Saturday, we were behind 6-0 in the first quarter, and that didn't seem to bother the kids too much. They knew they had to come back and play a good defensive game, and they had to cut down on mistakes. They had to key a little bit on defense, but they didn't put their heads down like I knew they wouldn't. But we came back. But the main thing that they didn't do was put their heads down, and they just came back and played a very good second half, and it paid off. We cut down mistakes, and we're keying a little bit better on defense.
Now, Mike, you're a very young man to be in the high school coaching ranks, only out of college for a few years. Of course, Kerry also just out for a few years, and your head coach, Bill Nold, the Jamestown College graduate, is in his second year of coaching. And what was it like working under Bill and working with a very young coaching staff?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun this year. It was a lot of fun. When you're 12-0, it couldn't be much funner than that, but working with Bill and Kerry, Bill's 24, I'm 24, and Kerry's 25. It was just great to work with these two people. We both had basically the same ideas about football, and it was great to work with them. Both of those two are graduates from Jamestown College, and they wanted to change the colors to orange and black at one time. I guess the administration didn't want to do that just because these two are from Jamestown College. But being that we did play against each other in college, we managed to get along somewhat coaching together. Yeah, it was great working with these guys. It really was.
Kerry Laguerre attended Jamestown College with Bill Nold and was a member along with Bill on the Jimmy's football team. And Kerry talked about his duties and about Bill Nold.
Well, I guess my main duties were the special teams, the punt team, the kick return team, and the punt return team. And people, I guess, that were watching the games realized that we always set up a wall And I think last year they had a wall. They set up wall for returns on both the kickoff return team and the punt return team. And this year I think we changed just a little bit for it. And when you got a kid like Billy Anner back there catching, I tell you, you don't need much of a wall. And sometimes we broke down a little bit, but we put a lot of time and effort into it, our special teams. And I guess that really was my main duties. And on defense, I worked with the linebackers and the defensive ends, as Coach Kiedorowski said. But again, with kids like we had at Trinity, there isn't much you can do because they're winners, and they always will be.
Now, Kerry, you attended college with head coach Bill Node, and you've been with Bill for a few years. Why don't we talk a little bit about your thoughts on the coaching staff at Dickinson Trinity?
Well, I've known Bill for 4 years now, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be out here, and I wouldn't be part of this Trinity fever, the Titan fever. And like I said at the little get-together after the game yesterday, I'm awful proud to be here. I'm awful proud to work with these two gentlemen, Mike and Bill, and also Ken Keller, our athletic director. When I first got here, I didn't really know what to expect. But the people and kids and, heck, working with Bill, like I said, I've known him for 4 years, you can't find a better guy. And I'm sure he'll back everything that we say. And he's a super coach. I think he can better himself in every aspect of life. Someday, I'm sure you'll probably see him coaching in some kind of major college football.
Behind any good coach is an outstanding lady, and Vicki Nold fits that description to a T. And Vicki and B.J. Nold talked about the past championship season.
Well, it was a very exciting season, no doubt. A lot of long hours, and Bradley and I were home a lot by ourselves. But when it comes down to it, I guess it's all worth it in the end.
Now, Vicki, how'd you make it through the Fargo South game Saturday afternoon? I know there had to be a few exciting moments for you, and what were your feelings on the game Saturday?